All right, here we go. We got something special for you guys. We're over here at Mason Motorsports still, and we are taking a look at this Gen 2. We got Neil here to tell us all about it. You guys pretty stoked on this thing so far, or what?
So far.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been a lot of work.
Yeah, I bet. How many years has it taken to get to this point with this?
A little over 2.
A little over 2 years.
There was a solid 2 years in just design stuff in the computer.
That's pretty cool. Why don't you take us around it a little bit, show us about it.
So we'll kind of talk about kind of the main idea behind the truck first.
Okay.
So we wanted an all-wheel drive, and we wanted to maintain the same sort of front to rear balance that we currently run, but we wanted to keep that balance balanced throughout fuel load and burns. So we really wanted to figure out how to take all the fixed weight and move it back to where we wanted to get the rear tail weight instead of using fuel. And then move the fuel up to the center of mass of the vehicle so that as the fuel load burns off, the balance of the truck percentage-wise does not change. The truck might change ride height slightly or get slightly lighter or heavier, but it doesn't disrupt the balance of it all.
Makes sense, because all this is going to stay the same pretty much, unless you're minus a tire or something.
Correct.
Yeah.
So now with making that balance not change as much, not only is it more consistent when you drive it, but now that means you can also use more fuel because it's not going to upset the balance as much, so that we can go farther. So our goal with this truck is to be able to do San Felipe with no stops and the Baja 500 with 1 stop.
And that's a huge difference, only stopping once or no stops. That's huge.
The easiest place to pass people is when they're stopped. That's when they make the least dust.
And these races are literally coming down to seconds nowadays. So if you save 30 seconds in a pit, that could be the difference between winning or losing a race.
Especially if you lost track position while you were in the pit.
True, because now you're in the dust. Then you might get a flat or who knows what. Yep.
So there's several things that we have to. Not only do you need more fuel to go farther, but we also have to figure out how to get the tires to go a little bit further than what we've done. So we've done some geometry stuff with the rear to try and promote a little longer tire wear or a little longer tire life.
Yep.
Make the wear more even across the tire. We've done things in the front to get even a little more traction and use a little bit more forward bite out of the front end than our current Gen 1 does to alleviate some more from the rear, because currently we get a lot longer life out of the front tires than the rear.
Okay.
So trying to balance that to get a longer fuel or a longer mileage before tires are needed to replace. So with all that being said, we'll start looking at some individual parts.
Yeah.
So this is your front drivetrain cooler. This cools our transmission, which is it's all designed and built in-house. It's the transmission transfer case is all one unit. The torque converter and the front diff are all lubricated with the same oils.
Okay.
And they're all a dry sump system, so all that oil is maintained and kept in the same tank. So this cooler cools all of the drivetrain. Cools the transmission, the front diff, and not all the drivetrain. Cools the transmission, front diff, converter, and transfer case. The portals don't require a cooler, and the rear gear does not, or rear gears do not require a cooler.
Okay.
We move up to here. We've done the billet upper control arm for a long time. That's nothing new. Very similar design to our Gen 1. The portal upright uses all the same internals as our current portal upright. It's just the housing's different for some geometry changes that we did in the front of the truck.
Yeah. These things are massive too, so you guys, like, that's a hand there. Like, these things are huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, massive.
And then, but the newest thing to this front suspension is the machined lower control arm. I've wanted to do one for a while and struggled to figure out how to cost effectively do one. Not that these are cost effective, but
yeah, just a little expensive.
But part of the problem is you need enough steering clearance out at the wheel, so you can't really make that center section with the uniball aluminum. You can't make it large enough and still have enough clearance with your space constraints.
Okay.
So what we did on this is it not only is more efficient with material to make it this way, but you can now, this center section is a 4340, and then is sandwiched with dowels to a front 70-75 and a rear 70-75 leg. So you can use the aluminum where you want the aluminum, and you can have the steel strength where you want the steel, and you also don't have to start with a piece this big.
Yeah.
Now it's broken up into sections.
So it's a 3-piece lower arm, basically.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. Nice thing about it now is it's easier for us to keep parts on the shelf for customers that are machine parts other than fabricated parts.
Yep.
So if they damage something, it's much more likely that we can have it ready for them to go. The other nice thing about them is with the 3-piece, if you damage this front section, you can just replace that front section.
That's actually pretty big, because before that would get damaged quite often, not quite often, but if you're going to hit something, it's probably going to be that. Before you used to have to buy a whole new arm, right?
Correct.
So now you can just buy that one section.
Or if you, from taking uniballs in and out over time and wear and tear, if you damage that uniball cup, instead of having to cut them out of the fabricated arms and have us weld new ones in it and post machine them, you can just order that center section and we can send it to you and you bolt it right back together.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And they look cool.
They do. I mean, I haven't seen one like that before, right? Yeah. It's definitely pretty cool.
So this is the fuel cell in the race truck, all these carbon panels you see here. So this is a carbon Kevlar, mostly Kevlar actually, it's just carbon on the outsides, and a Kevlar lined box that the fuel bladder will go into. The tricky part about that was figuring out how to get 145 gallons of fuel inside the cab and still make it come in and out.
Yeah.
So there's tubs that are first put into the truck, the lower parts of the fuel cell can that are put into the truck. Then the bladder is inserted into the truck, and then the tops are all put into the truck, and then the seat mounts go in over the can, which double as a hold down for the fuel cell.
Yeah, that's quite a bit of. How long did it take you to come up with all that? That's quite a bit of design you had to think of.
So when I first did it, I drew the first tank, and I'm like, oh, that should be good. I can barely get it out. And then I did the calculations on it. It was like 86 gallons. I was like, oh, I got to figure out how to fit a lot more. So the nice thing about this fuel is, one, it's center mass of the vehicle. Two, most of it is very low in the chassis.
Yeah.
Three, it's actually in the safest part of the chassis.
Okay.
When you have the rear mounted fuel cell, not that it's necessarily extremely dangerous, but if you get in an accident, if you crash one of these, if you're hit by another vehicle, 90% of the time there's damage to the front and to the rear.
True.
And those are the parts of the chassis that are built to not be as sturdy. The sturdiest part of the cab is designed to be around the drivers for safety reasons. And it's the most centrally located and away from crash incidents, trees, rocks. So I know a lot of people have gone, oh, the fuel's, it's near the drivers, you're sitting in fuel. If you rupture the fuel cell can in the back and it catches fire, it's going to catch you on fire, and you're more likely to rupture it in the back than you are here in the center of the truck.
That's true. Yeah, most collisions are the front or the back, like you said. So
Yep.
With cars or trees or anything on the
Yep.
course, yeah.
So we feel like we've taken the fuel and moved it to the strongest area of the entire chassis and the most centrally located and out of the way.
I see you have cup holders too.
Yeah, those will be for the battery and alternator switch.
They look like cup holders though.
Every picture they put, more than half of the comments on Instagram or Facebook are mention the cup holders.
Yeah. Yeah, nice cup holders.
So the other thing you have to do with be able to get this fuel cell in and out is you have to make sure that components don't get in the way. So that's why our steering column has to be able to unbolt from the chassis, or you can't get the fuel cans out.
Yep.
So there was lots of planning and lots of design and lots of stuff that we had to do to make that work.
That's the gnarliest fuel cell I've ever seen in an off-road vehicle. I'm just gonna say that right now.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what Harman says when they make the bladder.
Yeah. Right. Good luck.
So then this will all be meshed and it'll be carbon also.
Yep.
And the way this truck's designed is it's designed to take all the air that's gone into the cab and funnel it back to both the intake of the engine, so we have fresh cool air coming to the engine, and fresh cool air going to the coolers. So this truck is a little different than our current. It's from the outside, it'll be all smooth. You won't really see any of this stuff. So that'll be paneled. This whole top, actually, Mike Tucker in our walk around video was making the carbon mold for this top panel
Okay.
while we were over there. But that'll all be, so that this is all paneled. So you basically have a wind tunnel through the center of the truck that comes and exits through that. So anything that comes into the cab has to come through that back window, is funneled to this rear coolers, and then all the air will exhaust around and out the back of the truck around the spare tires.
Very cool. And that's a massive cooler on there too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is
I think
a new design we did with PWR. The top portion of it is the radiator, and then the bottom portion of it is the engine oil cooler.
Yeah, that thing's huge. You got 3 fans on it.
And then we also did some stuff, the way these panels in here work, to keep all the header heat out and away from fresh air, coolers, coils. This all has a return on it that mates cleanly to the engine, so the headers, everything is sealed off to the outside of the car.
Okay. Yeah, try to keep the heat out of there.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. Awesome. How long does it take to get an engine out of this thing?
Not bad. As long as you have like a forklift or a fairly tall lift, it comes right out through the top.
Okay, it comes out the top.
Yep. Yeah, our other one's dropped out of the bottom. This one
Yeah.
actually comes out through the top.
Okay. Well, that's probably even easier because before you had to kind of lift the truck up to make
Yes.
enough clearance. Now you can just lift the engine up and out.
We come back here, some of the fixed weight stuff we've moved back here. Jack tanks, jack pumps. This one we have, this is transmission, the oil for the transmission and drivetrain dry sump.
Yep.
The opposite side is the engine oil. Backup jack, batteries, coolers.
This
Those
will
are all
have,
components that before were toward the front side of the truck.
Yeah, so this has all come back. And then
And the
this will have
motor's
jacks
actually
too.
another 26 inches further back than in our other mid-engine truck as
I was
well.
going to say, it looks like it's actually farther from where you're sitting now too, which actually is good for a driver because it might keep a little bit more of the noise
So this
behind you.
this used to be right behind your shoulder.
Okay.
So it's literally 26 inches further back in the chassis than our current Gen 1 all-wheel drive truck.
Awesome.
And so that also helps move more fixed weight to the rear.
Yeah. So this is going to have the jacks up here as well.
Correct. Yeah, so the jack, the hydraulic jack,
The
the top
onboard
part of it
jack.
mounts there, mounts here.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Lots of people asking questions about how all this works and drive shafts and is it independent. So all I'll say right now is no, it's not independent. It is more of a live axle suspension setup. And that's all we'll go with for now.
Perfect.
It uses the same trailing arm as the current Gen 1 truck.
All right. Current trailing arm Gen 1 truck. Well, we got might be something a little special later.
And you can adjust camber and tow.
Oh.
Yep.
All right. There you go. You guys heard it from the man himself.
Not independent.
Not independent. Not independent. But something special maybe.
Trying to think if there's anything else.
I mean, this pedal looks cool.
That same pedal that we've always used. That's
very
one
cool.
of the very few interchangeable parts.
How often do you have to change the fluid?
The shock oil.
Yeah.
SDG wants you to do it every race, like every all their
race,
shocks.
yeah.
Just always do them.
Does it? Do you know what the spring rate is?
No.
It is.
It
dual
depends.
rate,
It
though.
depends on the driver.
Yeah.
The most finicky driver I've ever had when it came to gas pedals was for sure Andy McMillan.
Yep.
Every time he ever bought a new driving shoe, he would insist that we made a new pedal portion or foot portion of the pedal.
To fit it perfectly.
It always had to have a 1/4 inch gap all the way around the shoe, in the same shape as the shoe.
Hey, whatever works, right? I mean, Andy's famous for doing the the blipping
Yeah.
throttle too a lot, so it definitely gets used a lot.
Yep.
So. Is everything up here pretty much the same, or anything you want to talk about up
So
here at
we're
all?
doing kind of a different steering setup on this.
Yeah.
We're doing, it's a swing set. It's not a rack, but it also doesn't have, call it your normal sort of box with a sector shaft. So we're using kind of a linear steering that we're doing with double hydraulic rams that power the swingers. So it's almost like if you took a full hydraulic steering, but then you put a mechanical link in between so that you don't get drift.
Cool. So that's something new too.
It's something new that we're playing with that I think is going to have a lot of advantages.
Awesome.
We're able to do some really cool stuff with it.
Well, that'll be cool to see once it's on there.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. I think that covers the vehicle. If someone, let's ask, if someone wants to buy one of these right now, what kind of weight is it?
So one of these right now, are only going to build the first 2 until they have run for a year,
Okay.
and then we'll begin to deliver or build other ones.
Okay. You want to make sure they're proven, get out there, get some time on them.
And I want to finish them before we see how much they're really going to cost.
Yeah, because you don't know if you're not done yet, right?
Correct. We have ballpark ideas and estimates and prices that we've committed to, but you lose a lot of money on the first couple.
Yeah, I'm sure. And we know it's no secret whose this first one is, right?
Yeah.
It's already been said before.
Yep,
This is Bryce Menzies' truck. So, yeah, cool to see. So maybe later this year we'll see this thing in the dirt.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
we'll see it in the dirt sooner than later.
Sooner than later.
I want to drive it real bad.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. This thing is going to be pretty cool. It'll be cool to see when it's finished. Yeah, thank you guys for giving us an awesome shop tour today, a cool walk around of the new Gen 2. Anything else you want to talk about on it, or is that about it?
I think that's about it for now.
Is it? All right. Well,
Unless
there
you
go.
got any questions.
No, I think that's it. We got to keep people guessing on some of the stuff, so we can't tell you all the secrets yet. We have to have something to show you later. If we showed you everything right now, you're not going to come back and check it out later. So.
Yeah, and it's all about views.
It's all about views. Yeah, right? we all care about that so much. All right, well, cool. That's the new Gen 2 being built by Mason Motorsports for Bryce Menzies. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Hopefully you liked the tour. If you didn't check out the shop tour, go check out the shop tour for a tour of this whole place. We'll see you on the next one.